Thanks for joining, guys. We'll get started in 1 minute.
Mr. Frank, mic check. How am I sounding?
Oh, you sounded good, Mr. Blacklift. All right, let's go. Cut the music and we'll get started. Is the team from Surge here yet? Is Albino here? STF? We got Heis.
Yo.
All right, let me cut the music. All right, let me cut that. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not a part of the team, but I'm DC. I'm important too.
Oh, what's up, DC? You're a very
up,
important guy. Welcome, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
I think it's the first time I've seen you in one of our AMAs. Very bullish. That's how you know it's a good price. So, yeah, guys. Well, so listen, this one's been a long time coming, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little under the weather and got some work to get to, but I'm going to start it off, and we'll have Blacklift finish the second half of it. But guys, welcome. If you don't know about Surge yet, you're missing out. We had the opportunity to call this very, very bullish project, which offers a refreshing take on DeFi in the space as it is right after launch, and it's been quite the ride. We have Albino, STF, and I believe Heisman here from the team, so they'll be telling us all about it. But I guess, guys, you here?
Yeah, we're here. Heisman is probably not joining,
okay,
but he stays in the background.
That's all. That's what's up. All right, let me get. I do have your. You guys are more than welcome to share your screen if you'd like to, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull up. I'm gonna pull up the Surge website on my end. There you go. So we got that going. Yeah. So let's. I guess let's start off for anybody who a lot of us do know about Surge. Well, at least half of us are invested, but for those of us who I guess don't know, we'll go soup to nuts. But I guess to start off, tell us a little bit about your team. And any previous projects that you've been part of. How's that sound?
Yeah, Bino, do you want to speak about our team?
Yeah. So, team is comprised of STF, myself, and Heisman, who was. We all have kind of experience in this space. I think most of us kind of have seen each other around and whatnot. But Heisman is the Susbot dev. He has created that, and he's got a lot of success with that to his name. STF and I have done a project that you guys are probably familiar with or maybe familiar with was Last Date Standing. And then Jackpot Universe as well a few months later for basically the relaunch of that, the next version of that. And then we're here. So I think all of us have a little bit of freelance work to our names too. But just overall, we've been in the space for quite a while and we recognize a lot of people in here too, which is always awesome. Gives us a chance to kind of, go over some more details about the project.
Excellent. I mean, yeah, you guys, your names are well known in this space, and all for good reason. You guys are trusted, so that's another reason everybody's so bullish on the project. So we know that Surge is a layer 2, right? It's a layer 2 on Ethereum and BSC, but some people aren't, aware of what exactly that means. So I guess walk us through what was your inspiration for Surge, and then ultimately exactly what Surge is from a top-down view.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been trying to play around with the way to introduce it, right? I've tried it a few different ways, and I think that approach is actually one of the better ways to describe it. Initially as a layer 2, this is a wrap on top of BNB or Ethereum or any applicable chain, where it basically provides an environment in which is unruggable, essentially from the sense of people having access to the liquidity pools, and also a bunch of other contract upgrades, a bunch of different beneficial features that I'm sure we'll go into. But what this is basically a contract framework that allows a safe environment, offers a ton of incentives, and honestly, it should have been the way it was done in the beginning. You would think once you understand the protocol, you're like, wow, this is the way it should have been done. Why wasn't it done initially this way? It makes a ton of sense, and I hope that we can kind of clear anybody who didn't quite understand it before. I hope we can clear it up for you today.
Excellent. Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think is so. That's one of the things that's with the word that's kind of gone around, and it actually, since you guys have launched tokens on this in the past, it's been it launched 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, a little over 4 weeks ago. Yeah, I think we just crossed. Yeah, we just crossed our month threshold not too long ago from the original. Is that right, SDF?
Yeah, the original launched on January 7th. We announced the migration from the V1 to the V2 2 days into the launch, because the audit report came back and we wanted to make the contract flawless to make sure that our path into the future is clear.
Got it. Beautiful. Yeah, I knew it's actually been a month already. Wow, time flies. So, but one of the things that makes, Surge so interesting is, and we'll get into this a little bit more, is people can launch their own tokens on Surge, right? And we've seen multiple, and one of the terms that kind of is hyper focused on and has proven true for this month or so is that these contracts are unruggable, right? And people hear that like, well, how is it unruggable? So I guess walk us through what makes a contract, for all intents and purposes, that launches on Surge unruggable.
So yeah, these projects launching, by the way, is also the reason why Heisenman is not here. He is helping a project launch in this very minute. So the reason why we are different from other projects that are trading on PancakeSwap or Uniswap is the way we handle the liquidity pool. You guys surely know that Uniswap tokens, for example, have LP tokens, which store ETH and the ERC20 tokens together to enable trading. So you can buy and sell by interacting with the Uniswap router, and that gives you ETH from the LP tokens if you trade in the ERC20 tokens. So how it's usually done is that a dev has the whole supply of the tokens after he deploys the contract in his dev wallet, and then he takes ETH from his own pockets or from a private sale or from a public pre-sale or whatever, and pairs those tokens and the ETH together, stores them in a so-called Uniswap LP token, and then the trading is enabled, basically. So how we did it is completely different, as we decided to lock the liquidity pool inside of the token contract itself. So it's not an external LP, but it's an internal LP. Now, how does buying and selling work? You write the function inside of the contract. So you visit etherscan.io, go to the contract page, and click on write, and then you can buy and sell. So there's no real need to connect to any DApp, no need to approve tokens, no need for any of that. And this makes Surge completely different from other projects, because this liquidity pool that is stored inside of the token contract cannot be extracted by any third party. The only way to get into this liquidity pool is by owning tokens and selling them. So this is what makes Surge completely safe.
Excellent. So what was so we've seen, so you've had, how many tokens have launched this way how many tokens have launched on Surge so far in the last month?
I got the info that it was above 50 tokens 3 or 4 days ago. It should be more now. I'm seeing new contracts popping up constantly, like very innovative projects also. Like I've seen lottery tokens that link their project with a utility they built for the Surge ecosystem itself. Because remember, as we are not trading on Uniswap or PancakeSwap, every utility that you have seen on other projects, like buy bots, staking, you name it, like any of that, token scanners, and trading tools like snipers and whatnot, those do not exist for Surge yet. So these devs are now developing utilities for the ecosystem that other people can use to make the trading experience more comfortable for everyone. Monetize this, link it to their tokens, and then create this synergy. Like, they help the ecosystem, they bring in investors into the ecosystem, their token succeeds, and the whole ecosystem of Surge succeeds at the same time. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful, refreshing take on DeFi, and it's been an incredible ride to watch. So now you've kind of explained how the tokens itself are unruggable. How does someone buy? So let's say one of us is not involved, is not invested in Surge yet, has never aped in a Surge token. If someone gets involved right now, walk us through what that process looks like now. And I know that you're working on it. So you have, like you said, you have lots of developer teams, some that are very close to me, working on utilities. So walk us through what that process looks like now, and then what we could expect that process to look like, let's say, 3 months down the road from now, because we know you're always expanding, you're always developing, you're always building and increasing or decreasing that barrier to entry to the Surge ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, in my opinion, buying Surge is even easier than buying a token on PancakeSwap at the moment. If you scroll, yeah, you have the swap open, perfect. So the only thing you would need to do to buy Surge is connect your wallet top right, then going to the drop-down menu, select in the middle, and pick SRG BSC or SRG ETH, depending on which chain you're on, and then you would just press buy and confirm the transaction, and that's it. Or you're putting 5 beans into the chart. That's bullish. That's a bullish AMA.
Why not, right?
Yeah, we saw the buy bot right now popping up. Pretty cool.
Why not?
Congratulations.
It's quite easy. It's quite easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Like, we have a video tutorial on that on our YouTube channel, and the tutorial just takes 1 minute and 37 seconds, including the intro to it. So it's very easy to understand. Now, what we have got as a feedback from the community is that the swap as is right now is not yet really visually appealing. Okay, I hear this a lot, and I can understand it, that for normies it might seem like a lot. Like, there are a lot of buttons. On PancakeSwap you only have one button, that is the swap button, and we are currently in the process of a complete overhaul of this swap to basically mimic what Uniswap is doing. Basically, like, we will because the model of Uniswap's UI has, it has worked for so many years because of there's a reason for it, because it's easy to understand and it's intuitive. So we will provide a complete overhaul for the swap, make it more visually appealing and easier to understand for everyone.
And just familiar too. Like, that's the big thing, is like just making it familiar.
Just lowering the barrier.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was not. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna piggyback on what Albino mentioned in terms of the visual appealing. The swap, I think right now it looks really good. Yet there are some, you could always tweak it, but I think the swap, as terms of its GUI right now, it's pretty straightforward. Its initial one, it's changed from day one, right? So we see you guys are working. So in its current form, definitely, the barrier of entry for me in that regard has decreased. But I know you were just going to kind of touch on STF, what you plan on in the next, I guess, months and quarters to be for the swap.
Yeah, it will not take months. It's actually pretty soon. Development is pretty far. I cannot give an ETA, but it will be very soon. Like, we are always working on many things at the same time, like the UI overhaul of the swap, then improvements of our own charting system, which currently is not the fastest, but yeah, integration of search into these charting systems is also a thing that is coming over time. Like DEX tools cannot display our price because they don't have this compatibility. And we are working on getting integrated into these systems, getting the recognition, getting listed as a DEX on CMC. These are the bigger steps that are still ahead in our project, as we are still very early, and we still are in this phase of coming out, proving ourselves to the people that might doubt that this can reach those levels that we plan to have. So I think that's what the future brings regarding.
And one thing I wanted to add to STF, not only is the UI getting like the massive overhaul, but one of the reasons like why we think it's a great time to like have an AMA with everybody here is because we're going through a big functionality overhaul with that DEX as well. Where we're going to be allowing a lot more, I guess, accessibility to those projects that are launching on Surge Network, which is going to kind of open up the entire ecosystem with that familiarity to PancakeSwap, Uniswap, and the ability to put projects direct contracts link, like their actual buy link in there, like we're familiar with on PancakeSwap. Like if you do a buy link for something, it takes them right to their PancakeSwap trade page. There's going to be a lot of functionality improvements that are rolling out with this, including the ability to buy these SRG20 tokens with BNB directly, which makes the process just extremely simple for people. If we're doing some marketing, obviously we can send people to the Surge Swap page, and it's familiar, right? They put their BNB, they connect their wallet, they put their BNB in, they swap for as much as they want. They got all the readings and everything they're familiar with. It's super, super simple. It's going to make the entire conversion process for people coming in and giving Surge Network a chance. It's going to raise those rates considerably, I think. Overall, it's just going to be a massive, massive benefit for the entire ecosystem and all the projects that launch on Surge.
Yeah, because just to understand that why it is so important for us to push to make the accessibility to these tokens so important, not only because they are a big part of how our ecosystem as a whole grows, bringing in their developments, their talent, their ideas, and their visions, and their investors in the end, but also the fact that these SRG20 tokens, they have their liquidity stored inside of their respective token contracts, and the liquidity pair is Surge. So you buy these tokens with Surge. If you want to buy, let me use an example, Space Taco or SurgeX, bigger projects, Surge Burn, there are bigger projects in the ecosystem that are already known amongst the investors. You have to own Surge first, and then you use the Surge to buy their token. Now, with the swap overhaul, we would enable investors to skip this one step and buy these tokens with BNB directly. But this does not mean that Surge is skipped here, but the swap performs both of these buys consecutively, and it makes it much easier for any SRG20 token to onboard new investors, right?
So then let's kind of go to I want to move over to the ecosystem, right? We've kind of touched on the swap. We've touched on some of the bigger projects that have launched on your ecosystem. Cough, one that I'm really a huge fan of. We talked about, so let's talk about the charting system. What is it? Walk us through your charting system in its current form, where you expect that to be. And then additionally, are you planning on? We know you might be integrating into a couple existing DEX viewers, but I guess walk us through that the entire charting system, how people can view it from here now and in in the short future that we got ahead of us.
So the charting system as it stands today only shows you the candlesticks, right? There is a way to see the current price at the right and the movement of the price through the candlesticks. Now it's a basic form of seeing the price movement, but there is no trading view integration yet. This is still pending because we pushed this this particular development to the side for now because we were integrated by a project called Block Portal, and they integrated us into their charting system, which already uses TradingView. So you are able to draw these lines that investors for some reason love to draw. Apparently they mean anything. I don't know about that.
I know.
But yeah, that's an alternative for now, but we definitely want to expand on our own charting system as well. Integrate the dashboard or parts of the dashboard into the chart, show the transaction history below, stuff like that. So make the complete price tracking experience complete. Make it complete from our own tool. But that's a development that takes time still.
Got it. And I guess so. And the development on that effort that will also mirror itself for projects or tokens that are launched on top of Surge, right? So once that solution is kind of solidified, those future projects that run off of Surge will be able to mirror that.
Yeah. Well, the current charting that we offer also displays the SRG20 tokens. That's how we call those tokens that launch on Surge. So if you own a SRG20 token or you invested in it, then you can paste the contract address into the charting system we offer and press go, and then you see the chart. It's very basic at first, but with further developments, it will only get better. And also, as you also mentioned, like integration into the existing charting systems like DEX Tools, DEX Screener, DEX View will also come over time, and they will also support SRG20 tokens as well.
It makes us very like standalone, right? Like if PancakeSwap or Uniswap or somebody gets exploited like the team finance stuff, like we're not susceptible to that kind of stuff, right? Like we can run completely by ourselves through our contract directly on BSC Scan or Etherscan. You know what I mean? Like all of our data is pulling straight from our contract, which is a really, really cool thing that I don't think, that I really wanted to highlight. It's just the fact that we are like, we're kind of like self-sustaining in that sense. If shit hits the fan, like we're still going. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and that was kind of like, I have a team and a group of friends who are ourselves who kind of are working on the back end on, SurgeX and, things we could bring to that side of things. But for Surge, I guess what I want to ask is, it's really, anything is up to, there's really no limits here. I'm trying to think, are there any, on this ecosystem, right? Are there any things that we could be used to in DeFi that are kind of limited when you move over to Surge, right? Would a NFT project be viable? Would a predictions platform or a stake or a miner platform, would those would all technically be eligible to work on this ecosystem, correct? Or if not, what are the limitations?
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Like in that direction, in terms of which utilities you can implement in Surge, there are absolutely no limitations. Just the way to handle things is a bit different in terms of how to raise the funds, right? So there is still no launch pad. That's still to come. Either an existing launchpad will start their endeavors in our ecosystem, or we will bring out our own launchpad over time. That's also in the roadmap. So currently, what we have is the option to host a private sale, buy the tokens at launch, and then airdropping the holders. So that's how the funds are raised to support the utilities for the more complicated things. Now, the only thing that currently is not possible in Surge, because I know you wanted to target maybe some drawback. The only thing that is not possible is pairing a token with a stablecoin.
Okay. That makes sense too, and I don't know if that's necessarily a drawback in this current market. I mean, some people might disagree, but as far as if that's your biggest limitation, then I think the pros for the community far outweigh any, and that's not even a con. So I'm really bullish on where this could go. Where I want to take a step to the side now and talk about where you launched, right? Let's talk about who you've marketed with, what marketing efforts you've had thus far. In terms of, you're doing an AMA tour right now. This is not a meme coin, right? This is a legitimate project that has utility behind it. It's a new layer. So what less traditional routes or avenues have you taken so far for marketing for Surge to kind of get the word out above and beyond the typical Telegram crypto influencing sphere?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously where we started off, right? We had a lot of people, a lot of early adopters that saw, at least at face value, like a lot of value in what we were building, based on everything that they kind of experienced. So I think when we first started off, we were very lucky in the sense that we had a lot of great support, right? Which was absolutely amazing. And then we started dabbling a little bit into some paid marketing, right? Some reviews and a couple of things here and there. And we weren't really seeing the return expected, right? If it was a BSC project or an Ethereum, like a straight up normal process, I kind of have a good gauge on what we can expect from certain avenues and channels after doing it with them so much. And so we just were not seeing the expected returns. And we were just kind of throwing money into a meat grinder when it came to, just because our project requires a certain audience, a refined audience who's willing to explore and dedicate a little bit of extra time to understand a new process, right? It's not a hard process. It's just a new process. And a lot of people will just discredit it right away. And they'll just say, it's not, I don't care enough. They just won't look into it enough. And that's just is what it is. So it's why you have to really have a focused approach when you have something a little bit different. Now, when we noticed that we weren't really getting the ROI, we really started understanding the value of content and education, right? So we empowered our community, we incentivized them to make us a ton of content. We saw a lot of traction with that. We got a lot of people involved, a lot of eyes on us who were interested in knowing more and launching and everything else. It just opened up this whole entire field for us, which was awesome. And we're going to continue to do that. We really want to incentivize our community to create content because that's the best thing that we can do, without a doubt. But going into it more, we knew that we heard the people saying we need an easier swap UI, right? We needed more functionality in the swap. We noted these things early on. We started the process to get these things upgraded, and we realized that when we started getting some mock-ups of our finished product that we can expect, and we started to see wow, this is really next level. We were really, really impressed. Not only is it very familiar, it looks beautiful. It looks exactly as we wanted it to, which was amazing. And so we realized we're better served, putting a big push around, the protocol stuff, what we're doing, and everything else when we have that easier pathway to convert people. So right now we're still incentivizing our community. Our community is creating some great content. When we initially set out, we ended up having some long-term partnerships. So those people are still creating content for us, still creating YouTube videos, still doing tweets, still giving us all of that exposure on a regular basis. So that has been awesome. I'm really glad we secured those early. But, right now, that's why it's a great opportunity. And that's why I think, us having this conversation when we're having it right now is going to be awesome, because the swap UI and the upgrades are coming very, very soon. And that's when we're really going to throw kind of everything, not everything. We're just going to take a more aggressive approach in really getting the Surge network out there and the opportunities and all the benefits and everything else.
Excellent. I mean, you guys have done, the one thing I can say is from launch, the one thing you guys have done surpass anything that's happened. Forget 2023. We're early in 23. Anything that's happened in all of last year, you guys have completely succeeded in really building a community that's passionate about you guys, and they're behind you, and they're in for the long haul, right? So, like, I guess what as us, right, as a community, what can we do for Surge to help you guys spread the word? What's the one thing that you guys are looking for from us as a community?
From my point of view, I know SDF will probably have his own, but I mean, for me, it's always content. Content stays out there on the internet forever, right? It shows up in the random search filters. It gets spread around to other people. It's how, news is shared. Content, and that's pretty much it. If you have a channel that has exposure, get it exposure, man. It's a really cool network, and we've seen protocols that have really taken off. The Volt in use, I'm sorry, Squid Grow, all these different, really community-focused coins that didn't have a ton going into it, but just really built their community strong. They had these influencers that came on early and really made a name for themselves because they knew, right? They knew that the people were going to show up the next day. They knew that the team was going to push it, that they were capable. They staked their reputations on it, and it paid off, right? Like those guys gained a ton of loyal followers, and they grew their own communities larger because they stuck with the protocol that really, really pursued, the vision. And so I think that it's a huge opportunity if you have a channel to come on board this early state, to be the guy that gets, your community in early and make profits and yada, 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 all the kind of fun stuff we like to see. But even if you don't, create content, Twitter threads, Medium articles, all that stuff is super, super beneficial to people understanding and getting more educated on what we're doing.
It's also worth noting that just pushing the narrative of having safe liquidity and having this avoiding this problem of having these LP tokens that are going to unlock in 1 month, and the devs just suddenly stop working on the project because, I don't know, everybody stopped chilling. Like, you hear all of these crazy stories just in order to have the liquidity pool unlock in 1 month time and pocketing it. And just today, we unfortunately saw another project on ETH apparently or supposedly getting hacked in their liquidity pool. I don't know if these claims are true or not, but in fact, the liquidity pool of that ETH token is completely drained. Investors stand there with nothing, worthless tokens in their bags. And all of this could have been avoided if this project was trading on Surge instead. And that's actually the message that we want our community also to spread. Like, whenever this happens, this can be avoided, and there is a better solution to this.
100%. We've known something. We've all hoped. I think a lot of us in this space have kind of hoped something could come along like this and almost save the space to a degree. It's everybody's sick and tired of the same old story happening over and over again, and no one doing anything about it. And that's one of the reasons I got so bullish on Surge DeFi and everything you guys are building. I think there's nobody able to do it. I guess so in terms of you're on ETH, you're on BSC. What are you for the future? What are we looking at in terms of is other chains something you have on the horizon, something you're considering? What's that look like for us?
Absolutely, it's on the roadmap. The three projects that the three chains we are mentioning in our roadmap are RB, AVAX, and Matic. So Polygon. So these are, in our opinion, the three greatest chains besides ETH and BSC. And our project started off being multi-chain from the get-go. So our swap and our chart are not separated by chain. So you do not have to visit another site to see ETH instead of BSC, but you just have to connect your wallet on the right chain to interact with the token on the right chain. And it's just a seamless process. Like the connect button you pressed earlier, you would just have to click on your MetaMask account, switch the chain, disconnect, connect again, and then you switch the chain already. So, and the same thing goes with Polygon, with AVAX, with every EVM chain. And that's our plan to actually expand the ecosystem over time. Also, of course, adapting to the habits of the investors that those chains have. Like, for example, we know that the Polygon investors are mostly seen in these Discord groups, and we want to expand on that side too. But over time, like right now, our priority is to improve the dApps that we offer, to get integrated into third-party systems like charting, price tracking, etc. And then we look for expansion.
So you got some plans there. So I maybe a dumb question, right? But for surge contracts, things like audits, right? Are they done the same? What does that look like? You're working with the same partners that typically audit contracts on BSC and Ethereum, or does it have to be done by your team internally?
No, we are also audited by solidproof.io. We also work with them for the previous projects that we mentioned, Last Tape Standing. No, Juni only. But every auditing company that has a serious business going on, we know that some auditing companies that are currently taking $200 for an audit don't actually know what they're talking about. But the serious auditing companies are absolutely capable of auditing this contract as well.
Excellent. That answers that. Got a couple more questions that I will open up to the community. I'm so sorry. I wanted to talk about, recently we're coming off of a massive bear market. You could say that we're kind of on our way out of it, or so we hope. What have been your biggest challenges in getting this up and off the ground to date, right? So what have, again, your biggest challenges, what have they been?
Well, actually, it's a very interesting question, because the current what's currently happening is the thought around Binance users not being able to withdraw in USD, for example. That's another instance of a centralized exchange being in the spotlight, right? We are a DeFi project. We are immutable. We are actually an answer to this. We are an answer to what happened over at FTX. We are an answer to what's happened to Luna. We are an answer to what's hopefully never going to happen to USDT. But yeah, like that's the narrative. Decentralization is on the rise. The narrative of decentralization is getting stronger week after week when we see that another centralized exchange went bankrupt, another centralized protocol was hacked, all of that. So this is not possible in a completely decentralized protocol. And so to answer your question, actually, if the sentiment against crypto is negative as a whole, we are the good guys on the side. Like, we are not the same guys as the ones that caused all of this mess.
You're a bright light in the sky of darkness that we've had as of late in crypto, and I think that's a great way to put it, because even for me personally, 2023, we had a nice start. We had a couple good projects. Things were looking up, but I really, jaded, right? I'm jaded. Lots of people are jaded, and I think seeing what you guys were able to do here, and it really got it piqued a lot of interest. It got a lot of people's hopes back up about what this space really can be. And I think you're doing it, and I think you're succeeding in spades. And I think there really are no limits, right? It's all about what the community wants to get behind it, what the community wants to build on top of it. And we're doing it for a team or under a team which is leaves nothing but integrity and has the world as their oyster. So I think you guys are the perfect people to really do this project. I wanted to kind of ask one final question, and then I'll open up the community. Is that all right?
Sure.
Great. So I think so. Normally, I ask any coin on this question, but I think it's going to be more. It's going to have a lot more meaning for you guys. But all of us have lives outside of crypto, outside of DeFi, right? And we all have friends in real life, family in real life, colleagues and coworkers, and they don't know much. They know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BSC, but they find out that you are on the Surge team and you are building something special. And you're not giving them financial advice, but they just ask you straight up, well, what are the 3 killer features of Surge DeFi, right? What are you saying to them in that moment?
Yeah, okay. That depends on their general knowledge. Like if you ask me how I would explain it to my dad, who absolutely knows nothing about cryptocurrencies, I might say that we are a completely safe, decentralized exchange. I think it sums it up.
That sounds perfect. I mean, listen, it's simple, right? It's short, simple, it's to the point, but it really is ultimately it's a huge deal, right? So I think
I would even add something. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I would even say that we are completely free to use decentralized exchange where you can buy and sell tokens however you want. I say this because I think we didn't cover it in the AMA. Many people don't even know that Uniswap and PancakeSwap take transaction fees for every buy and every sell. That is in BNB and in the tokens that you're trading. So you might not assume this is much, like it's 0.003 BNB for every bean spent, but it's adding up over time. So if you consider yourself being an active trader in DeFi, you are doing a lot of transactions per day, and it's a lot of money that is gone from your portfolio over time. So you just need to take a look at the stats that Uniswap publishes on their own website, uniswap.io/info, I think. There is trading volume in the billions every day. So that's millions of dollars every day in fees. And Surge Swap and Surge on the blockchain does not have any transaction fees whatsoever.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Let me ask you this then. Without those fees, right? So the team, what's going to keep you guys, besides your work ethic and your unrivaled level of integrity, what's going to keep you guys going for this project, right? So like, what is it that's, because we see that there's no fees here, there's no fees there. Like, what in a perfect world, like say 90 days from today, right? What does your ecosystem look like? What is going to keep you guys paid and keep you guys, able to build upon it? Because at the end of the day, I believe a good team should be making something, right? And you guys are that. So what's in it for you guys? Tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the monetization of it at the moment is by buy and sell taxes on Surge itself. So if you buy Surge right now, you would pay 4% taxes, which is divided into the treasury and to the team. 5% on sells. Now, these taxes are gradually reduced over time, like step by step. The buy taxes decrease and then the sell taxes decrease as well. And in the end stage of the project, like as the project grows to higher levels, like far higher levels than now, the taxes are then put to zero. But at that point, we provide the dApps for people to use, and we have revenue from this alone, not for the usage itself, but think about ads, think about I don't know, specials, like anything you can imagine that is bound to the brand. We can monetize it without damaging the portfolio of an investor, like not taking it from the trades, but more from the usage of the tools. For example, we have an automated token deployer bot. So you could now go to Telegram, speak with the bot, tell the bot how your SRG20 token shall look like the name, the taxes, the wallets that receive the taxes, and the bot then deploys this contract, and you can then enable trading, and your project is live. So if you don't have the skills to deploy an SRG20 token on Ethereum Remix, then you can use our tool to do this. Now, there is a one-time fee for the usage of that tool. So that's just a small example of on how we can still monetize the project without damaging an investor's portfolio.
No, that's perfect. Listen, I feel like that's a maybe it's a boring question, but I feel like truly it's a very important question, because if the team can't take care of themselves, they can't take care of their baby, and this project is your baby. So, and I think when you build something like this that really cleans up the space for us, the team needs to be taken care of. So that's a very important factor for me. So I'm glad you were able to kind of communicate that to us. So thank you, bud. That's it for me in terms of questions. I do have a couple final comments I'll make after you do, but as always, I want to open it up to the community now. If you have any questions for the guys at Surge, you can speak up now in VC or just type your questions in main, and I will ask on your behalf. So I guess now is the time. Anybody with any questions, comments, or concerns from the team from Surge DeFi? All right.
Frank, I have something.
What's up, Joe?
What's up? Obviously, I'm a full supporter of the project and all of the sub projects. One in particular, especially. And so, I think my question is this: what are the plans? And I know that there are some, but I'm just wondering if you can flesh out what your plans are to encourage more quality launches in the ecosystem.
So I think it's a combination of many things. Like, of course, you cannot avoid low quality projects launching. Like it's DeFi, and there will always be bad devs. Like not even malicious devs, but just bad projects.
Yes.
They exist. They just exist. Now, high quality projects. In the terms of their funding, this is possible through a raise, a pre-sale, for example, or through having a dev that just has money. And as the project grows, the exposure grows, there will be more incentives to launch on Surge, because as you see, the market cap in Surge is still extremely low for what we see as potential in the project. Now, if you were to launch a project on Surge right now, your liquidity is paired with Surge. If Surge does an X2 from here, your project also do an X2 from here. And same goes with X5, X10, etc. Now, obviously, that's speculation. Now, what's more incentivizing about this is the fact that you can draw the attention of the whole holder list of Surge. Like you see, BNB is a coin that has a broad spectrum of investors with different habits. Only a small portion of BNB holders are actually buying shit on PancakeSwap. It's a minimal portion in comparison. Now, if you take a look at Surge, if you would click on the holder list, every single wallet, every single top holder is holding at least one SRG20 token. Now, the ratio of this as a whole is actually insane. Like the exposure of your project to a complete list of holders that are able to buy your project is actually very exciting from the get-go.
And just to add on to that too, like SDF was saying, just to kind of like summarize the value there is that, you know, the earlier that a project gets in, especially a good project, the earlier they get in and build up that liquidity pool full of, you know, the SRG token, that's the better incentive for them, right? Because the earlier they get in, the more projects that come after them are obviously going to boost the price, bring more holders in, bring more people into the ecosystem, and overall raise the value of the native token, the Surge token, right? So like the earlier that good projects get in, the bigger opportunity it is. You know what I mean? And so that's like a really big part of it. But another catalyst to like what's ultimately going to be the defining thing, it doesn't matter like how much money we throw at marketing. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, obviously that is going to sustain a lot of our, you know, community and everything else. But the ultimate is what's going to be the defining factor is when the community's voice gets so loud, right, that people start really demanding, at least in our side of the space. I'm not talking like all throughout crypto. Like there's a whole nother section of shit coins and BSC and Ethereum that isn't even plugged in with what we're doing, right? Like you'll see these random coins mooning and you're like, I didn't even hear about this. Like I never even heard about it. And they didn't have any presence on Telegram, right? And they're just completely out of our circles that we're used to. Like the same thing happens here. Is like when our side of the space starts to demand it, right? When enough of these rug pulls happen and people finally get really fed up with it, you know, that's when the ultimate adoption is going to take place. That's when, you know, devs are going to be almost forced to come over here because the investors expect it, right? Why wouldn't you launch on Surge? It's the only fair way to do it, right? You shouldn't have the keys to an investor-fueled liquidity pool, right, Mr. Developer? Like, there's no sense in it. I don't understand why you would want that. This is investor-fueled. It's an investor project. It should be investor-owned. Like, and when that becomes the standard, then I think is when, you know, obviously it just goes absolutely parabolic. But I think it's going to be a slow progression over time when that voice is going to get louder and louder and louder and louder. And I think eventually, you know, at least on our side of the space, it's going to become almost a requirement.
Okay. Well, I like that. As I said, I love the project, and I think that this will help to. I think this has already been referenced, but it will help to filter out the scam devs because they can't pull the LP, you know, which is a classic. And so, you know, with this, you know, I really think that we'll have some quality people that will want to launch on this, and I look forward to seeing that because the space needs it desperately, and I think investors need it too. I mean, to make money, you know, have fun, you know, and not be wasting their time, which is I think how a lot of us feel at this point is that when you're in these scams and these rug pulls, and you can't really predict which ones are going to be which. Now, if you know the team, that's different. But you know, some moon, a lot don't, most don't, and then they turn into scams or they started out as scams. So anyway, I wish you all the best on this, guys, and I look forward to seeing your future success. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Joe, thank you for your question, man. I'm going to step in here. Frank had to dip out for a little bit. Guys, I have a question for the team. Have you guys done any, I want to say like surveys or anything, or do you have any indication as to why the BSC side is growing more than the E side?
I think the sole reason is gas fees at the moment. So more developers chose to launch their projects on BSC because it is cheaper, and I don't see any reason on why ETH doesn't have as many holders as BSC than this. There are projects in the background already building out their their tokens, their SRG20 tokens to be launched on ETH. Also with the further upgrades to the SRG20 deployer bot on Telegram, which will have more a bigger variety of smart contracts to choose from, like rewards, burn, manual rewards, automatic burn, all of that, and all of the combinations between. You will see projects on ETH launching much easier. So, but still, the price of ETH and BSC at the moment is pretty much on pair at the moment, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's not far away. And it's just a matter of time.
Okay, that's a great answer. And as Albino knows, I've pretty much been in here since probably day 2 of you guys' launch. I strongly believe
super early.
Yeah, super duper early, and I've even paired with a couple of other projects to help them out with some stuff. But yeah, I'm here. I'm going to be here. This is an exciting thing. One of my opinions as to why the BSC space, the gas is the number one thing. One of my opinions is the fact that on the BSC space, rugs tend to occur a whole lot more, and so because it's so cheap. But if you can eliminate that, then that's gonna spur the growth on the BSC side, which is bringing all the BSC projects in. So that's something that I also see as one of the main reasons that BSC is outpacing that a little bit.
And there's like this mental arbitrage going on too, which is kind of fun to watch. And I'm sure like other people from the community also realize it too, right? Like it's kind of interesting to watch how people are speculating and whatnot. But I mean, again, we're a solution we're like a wrap on a chain, right? That is going to provide an entire ecosystem, and it's applicable everywhere. You know, every EVM chain. I mean, it truly is a solution that for all, you know, basically all of crypto. It's pretty insane.
It's as you pointed out, for those listening who maybe don't know, the token prices of both Surge tokens on BSC and ETH respectively are not bridgeable. So they are completely decoupled, and they are to be seen as completely independent tokens from each other. So if BSC goes up and down in price, the ETH token is not affected at all. Now, what also plays in this is there are more frequent launches on BSC than on ETH in absolute numbers. Now, ETH has less tokens launching per day, but the volume is bigger. But I think as of what I'm seeing, ETH also has a hell of a lot of rocks.
Oh yeah. I mean, here recently the ETH rugs have grown exponentially as well. So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, you know, in both of the field of endeavors that you guys are in. And I definitely see this as the number one way to get rid of all that nonsense. I did notice that you guys did. I was listening to the what was it, the Twitter Spaces that you guys did. I was listening to that, and I thought that was really good in trying to expand the market or get more people into the project. I definitely want to commend the team for doing everything they can to get this out there.
You'll be excited too then, because our next Surgeon Sunday is going to be on Twitter Spaces again. So this Sunday we're going to be taking it back to the Spaces, and so invite your friends.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big hard pass for me, Kemosabe. I'm a Chiefs fan, and that's Super Bowl Sunday, so yeah.
Oh. Okay, I see. You are excused for this Sunday, but only this Sunday. Next Sunday.
Yeah,
hey, that's all I need is this Sunday. Go Chiefs! Just this Sunday will be cool. I'm good. But like I said, you guys are killing it. You're doing a great job. Like I said, I'm always going to be in this project. I hope more people will join. I know you guys are working on the interface. That's the only thing that I've had people come to me with their biggest complaint is how do I buy Surge? I just don't get it. And it's not hard, but there are just some people that are flat out lazy.
Yeah, and this, from the mock-ups I've seen, I really think you're going to appreciate the next evolution of the swap of the decks. Yeah, I really think you're going to like it.
All right, that's nice. I
certain.
love it. Okay. Look, I'm also from Missouri, so you got to show me, bro.
Yeah, look, I saw the preview of it, and I really don't want to tease about it, but I just can't shut up about it now that we touch on it. I've seen the preview of what we can expect from the swap, and I stared at it for maybe 20 minutes without blinking. I love it.
That's what I like to hear. One other thing I wanted to ask, so to kind of piggyback off of Joe's comment, so as you know, I'm involved in a couple of Surge 20 token projects. My question is, and I know it's not up to you guys to market the SRG 20 projects, but what I have noticed is that they get stagnant. You know what I mean? Where like there's like literally when I go into a TG for a new project, I see like the same 30 or 40 people that are in, and then that's it. It kind of dies out. Are you guys giving any guidance to these projects that are launching on the SRG 20 on how to build up the volume in their projects?
Yeah, that's going to be an important part of it. And again, the accessibility is like the biggest part of the whole conversion, right? Like if somebody were to go spend money on some sort of marketing right now, they would essentially have to explain the process of how to buy Surge. And then on top of it, how to turn your Surge into their SRG20 token, right? Like you're going to lose a lot of people in that process. And I don't want to say it's impossible. I just want to say that it's a great time for these communities to obviously build up their really core following, from the people that are in the Surge ecosystem, people that are going to take the time to go in there and do it, which requires a bit of an explanation. I've seen a lot of the projects on the Surge network doing like AMAs and things like that as their marketing efforts, which is huge. I mean, it gets the word out there. It allows them to explain it. And I think that that's a great option for people to go down is doing those AMAs and getting in front of communities. But going back to your question, yes, it's a huge priority for us to identify people that are going to be like long-term supporters, and in return also support the projects that are launching on the network. So getting some key ambassadors, getting people that are not only they're not ambassadors, but they're people that we've vetted to ensure they have like a genuine community, and that they're willing to work with Surge projects, and even better, take Surge as a payment. We've had a lot of people offer that we've been talking to. While we're getting ready to kind of deploy, phase 2 of how we're going to go about our marketing and campaigning and whatnot, when the DEX upgrades and the swap upgrades and everything else come online, with a few things here and there around the ecosystem. But yeah, definitely excited to get people the resources that are going to help them drive their projects. But not only that, the functionality to make it really easy too.
And also to add on that, I think if you take a look at our chart right now, it's currently facing a dip from ATH, and of course, all of the market caps of these SRG20 tokens has decreased from this ATH as well. So I think more emotional traders are always scared away from dips. Like it's a complete natural process. But what I've seen in the background of these SRG20 tokens that are, by the way, always in contact with us as a team for guidance and for technical support or any other questions, is that they are not stopping building. Like the utilities they offer, they are refining them, fine-tuning them, improving them or building even additional utilities into their projects, while we are consolidating as a whole ecosystem. Like you could say, preparing for takeoff.
Okay, that's a great way to say it, because that was one thing I was going to say. You know, like Albino said, when the other projects have AMAs or anything like that, it ends up that they spend less time talking about their project and they spend more time talking about the ecosystem as a whole and how to get into it and how to get the SRG20 token, how to get the Surge tokens and how to buy the SRG20 tokens. So that can be a little bit of a hindrance. But as you said, you guys have a new swap coming out, and I'm excited to see that. How soon, when are you guys talking about letting that beast loose?
We haven't even talked about like what we're gonna get out of here. STF, are you gonna leak it or what? Can we say under a week?
Yeah, you said it.
I'm not a leaker.
There you go.
What's the question for now?
Yeah, we black. We can't snitch. We've been conditioned.
Bro, you already know, man. Snitches get stitches. I ain't got. Look, I don't. Yeah, nah.
Guys, this is a private group, okay? What's in the private group stays in the private group. Apart from the recording,
all right,
which will be
published,
but
we'll give you guys that. That's a good one. Under a week, you'll have the new UI. You'll have all the functionality that we've been talking about. You'll be able to link, so you'll be able to use an influencer, a channel, whatever you want, and they can put the buy link right there. It'll link directly to your token on the swap. They'll be able to buy it directly with BNB or Ethereum. The whole process gets a lot easier. And I didn't get a chance to say this either. We talked about the LaunchBot a little bit earlier. The LaunchBot has one contract right now, and I just wanted to kind of put the opportunity out there about the LaunchBot. The LaunchBot is also getting a little bit of, actually, it's a huge value add. Pretty soon, we teased it in the one of the channels. But basically, the bot is going to be getting this huge arsenal eventually of different types of contracts, which is going to be like open up the ecosystem even further. One thing I wanted to note about the LaunchBot, it's going to have burn contracts, it's going to have rewards contracts, it's going to have all sorts of different contracts that are going to benefit, investors, going to benefit everybody in the Surge network. So really, really cool stuff there. I had it noted down to mention that, and it was just one thing. I know we're not even talking about it, but there you go. The LaunchBot is also going to be getting a huge value update here in the very near term future. So be on the lookout for that as well.
All right. And that being said, the last question I'm going to ask about this, are there any enhancements or improvements planned for the charting of the SRG20 projects?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of touched it earlier, but we are absolutely planning to improve our own charting system as well, with integration of TradingView, and just for the sake of having the tool for ourselves. Like it's going simultaneously with getting the support of third-party charting systems over time. Yes.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. What I'm going to do here is STF Albino, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and give us a closing statement, and then we'll go ahead and get this thing ended because we've kind of went over an hour. Sorry, but we're a little excited here.
Albino,
yeah, for sure.
Closing statement.
You want me to go first, STF?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I mean, I think I'm pretty familiar with a lot of people in the voice chat, so it's good to be able to talk to everybody and kind of explain, our baby that we've been working on. But one thing I wanted to reiterate is that we set out with this initially, and we told everybody, this is going to be a one-of-a-kind experience. This is going to be a unique experience. You'll probably never get another experience like this again in crypto, right? In terms of what we're building, our initiative, and what we have here in terms of potential, we really feel it's a top 100 potential token on the team side. And I know that's biased. It's ultimately biased, but for us, we have such a solution that's applicable everywhere. And it's a huge opportunity right now. And I'm glad we got a chance to talk to everybody, because there's a lot of major catalysts coming in. We're not coming in, shilling you a giant green candle and saying, come aboard, come aboard. We're saying, hey, we've been consolidating for a week or two now. We had a massive early run up, and we've been consolidating. We're still at a very healthy rate, but we have a ton of catalysts coming up that's really it should really affect the price. And I'm glad we're here to share it with you guys. So you guys can get in early in what we set out to be a really one of a kind experience. And I think we've delivered that. We've delivered a really unique swap. We've delivered an ultimately super unique ecosystem, and it's just getting worked on, and it's getting improvements, and it's getting modifiers and upgrades on like seemingly a daily basis. It doesn't stop, right? So value's getting increased more and more and more. And I think we're ultimately ramping up for a really, really strong climb here in the near-term future. And I hope everybody else sees it. I'm not saying for everybody to just ape in wildly. I'm just saying look for spots, because it really could be a life-changing opportunity. If we can get everything executed on, and obviously we keep going in the same trajectory in terms of our development, which we have no signs of slowing down. I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what we're going to build in this network. But it's a great opportunity right now. Thanks everybody for listening. If anything, just come hop in the community and get a feel for it that way too.
Yeah, and if I may add something too, like it's just to give you my personal experience as an owner of this protocol. It's just a joy to work on this thing. Like it's really the thing that gives me personally joy, like working with this team. We are in the core chat, never really negative about anything that's happening. Like we are joking around behind the scenes but always working on something. Like we are always like looking for the next thing to do. Heisenman is I don't know when the guy sleeps. He finishes one thing which he wanted to publish, and then he immediately said, all right, I got this out. STF, please write the announcement for it. Albino, please do whatever you have to do to get the word out. And I will immediately start working on the next thing. Like there is just no break. And there is so much that is still to be done in this protocol. So much to expect from this protocol. Like not even touching on the things that SRG20 developers are bringing into the ecosystem with their talent, with their communities that they have behind, with their private groups, and with their visions and ideas. Like all of this will benefit the whole ecosystem as a whole, which, as we said, has more than 50 live projects already at the moment. And I think I rarely felt better in my life than now.
All right, guys, that is awesome. Thank you guys for coming here and sharing the updates and the information on the project. As you know, people here at XDC, we've pretty much been in since like day one. Some people, day -1, but we definitely are excited. I encourage anybody here that's not had a chance to check it out and look into it, please do that, as this thing it's gonna go. It's gonna go, and you're gonna be sad that you missed out. This is the next Uniswap, next pool, whatever it is you can think of, this is that. And with that being said, if there's no more questions, once again, thank you guys, the team from Surge, and we'll go ahead and get this thing ended. Everybody have a great day, great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.